Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
It's the Keith and the Girl 24-hour marathon, the most glorious time of the year. Thank you, everybody, for being part of it. We have about 80 of your favorite comedians. They're about to join us. Did you get in good sleep? Are you all prepared, Chemda?
I had a plan, stay up as late as possible last night and then wake up as late as possible today. I got to 11 a.m., which is a huge deal, I think. Then I'm not in the middle of the day when we start the marathon. So I'm pumped. I'm nervous as hell, and I'm excited as hell. How about you?
I watched close to a midnight showing of Jackass Forever last night. So I wanted to stay up a little later to sleep a little later.
Is this the first night of Jackass?
The Friday night was the first, official night. They show things on Thursday as well.
Oh, okay.
To pad the numbers.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So midnight showing, I think that's like the best time to see Jackass, right?
I'm a little nervous that I'm becoming too mature.
Oh, no.
And they're smacking each other in the dick, eating each other's ball bags. And I'm like, okay. And that saddened me. So I'm hoping that as people listen, they'll take notes on the juvenile things we do talk about, so I don't feel so grown up.
Were you feeling so grown up that you were like, is this necessary? Like that kind of thing?
Yeah.
No.
I was like their mom. I'm like, you're going to need your dicks.
Is that what their moms have been telling them?
Or they haven't enough. I don't know. But I mean, these guys can't make kids, right? There is so much. There's cock for days. Which I do find hilarious. And it seems to be the new way of entertainment to make up for all the pussy and tits we've been seeing.
Oh,
right?
so there's full frontal male.
I happen to watch the Rachel's Gemstones on HBO. There's dick every other second. It's fucking hilarious. The new Pam and Tommy TV show on Hulu. Tommy Lee's dick talks to him and tries to straighten out his life. It's fucking hilarious.
Remind me, is the Tom and what's her face? Is that a documentary?
It's a reenactment based on a true story. And it's a pretty incredible story. It's not just that some guy stole the Pam and Tommy sex tape, Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson. Tommy Lee wronged the guy, and then the guy broke in to the house to get what he thought he was owed. He accidentally stole the tape. He was a construction worker at the house. He happened to date somebody in porn, and he filled in once for a porn scene. Now he knows the porn director. These guys are a little shady, of course. And so then together they work on selling the tape. That's where I'm at right now. Lots going on.
This dude started a whole business based on finding a tape when he broke into Pam and Tommy's house.
Yes.
Wow.
Because and Tommy Lee pulled a gun out on this guy when, being all fucked up. He wasn't paying these guys. He made the construction workers lose a lot of money, and the guy thought he was owed.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, lots going on. But my point is, I like, I think the words like, I love seeing these dicks everywhere because it's about time, and it's just fucking hilarious to me. But at the set, I don't know. Maybe I don't like seeing them get hurt. Maybe is that fragile masculinity? So, but I don't know. They just keep tasing and punching and kicking, and I'm like, it's sad.
Oh, Keith, but can I remind you one extra layer? Not only are you older, and you're so young still. How old are you? In your late 40s?
47.
Oh,
yeah,
wow, maturing so quickly, may I say? May I just
I don't know.
Credit? Yeah. But number two isn't this your first sober jackass?
Oh. Interesting.
Isn't this your first jackass without a 40 or some kind of like vodka fake bottle in Mountain Dew sort of thing?
It must. Even Bad Grandpa and Action Point probably had stuff in it. Yeah. Damn.
I think Johnny Knoxville, and it's still Johnny Knoxville?
Yeah.
I think he comes with alcohol or some kind of substance, or you're just like, ouch.
You know what I would find funnier than at this point in my life, seeing them kick balls and punch assholes? I see them throughout their day reaching for the remote. Ugh! That's what I want to see.
Oh my God. You know what I don't love? When I get up, if I go, oh, I'm like, did I need to say that just now? Because
Right.
I doubt that I wouldn't get up if I didn't say, oh,
Right.
I need to say it.
Like get milk when you were just destroyed by a bull. I'd like to see that. Reach for the pasta on the top shelf after you just had, mouse traps on your nips.
Reach for the Alka-Seltzer after Johnny Knoxville gave your next scene and what you're going to eat.
Yes.
That reminds me, by the way.
I want to see I want to see these people having sex. I mean, maybe it takes so long to film these movies because, there's months in the hospital. I want to see it the way you got to see Jackie Chan get hurt, and they see the ambulance take him away. I want to see all that stuff. I want to see somebody's wife yell at him like, we already have a house. The fuck are you doing? I can't fuck you, honey. Why? Because I was with the boys and we were playing poker dick. I can't tell you what it is, but I drew a bad card.
That's such a good idea. Like you would think that would be extras in the movie, but to Keith, right. That's the whole movie and then some.
I don't know what somebody doesn't die from some of this stuff. It is they don't mind going nuts. Ryan Dunn, he was one of the original guys. He died, but that was in a car accident unrelated. So the car accident unrelated, but they take a bowling ball on your nuts and somehow you keep walking around. Okay.
I wonder if you feel stupid in a car with your seatbelt buckled. If you're like into this, all this stuff, it's like, oh, stick this in your ass, do an alley-oop on this thing into that water and then continue whatever, bash your head on this until you get so dizzy that you fall, but get into a car and put on a seatbelt.
The great Bam Margera. You recognize that name? Yeah.
Is that the guy who put his own face tattooed on his back?
No, that's Steve-O, of course.
Oh, there's so many characters.
Bam Margera was the one. He was probably the next breakout star other than Johnny Knoxville. And he had his own show. Yes.
He had his own show with this guy named Tiny, but he was giant. There's a lot of these dudes with shows. Okay.
That's the original ridiculousness, I think you're thinking.
God damn it.
This is the guy that spray painted two naked lesbians making out on his parents' hood of their car. Oh. He's the one that always
the artist.
He does beat up his dad a lot. Is his dad called Tiny?
No.
Okay.
No.
Uncle something, right? I don't know. Anyway, there's an uncle in there also. He's big. But anyway, so he kept fucking around and he had a fun show, but then drugs got to him and he's just spouting nonsense. And then he's not in this Jackass movie.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny. Like, picture you're so fucking out of control. They don't want to put a mousetrap on your nuts. That's how out of fucking control you are, that you're not worth taking a pogo stick and jumping in there and landing right on your balls through the ground. We don't want to mess with you. You're too much. That's Steven Adler getting kicked out of Guns N' Roses. You're out of control. But I don't know. I was trying to hear
monsters. We're the monsters. Anyway,
I tried to look at the audience in the theater. Like, are you all oohing and on like we used to? I can't tell. It didn't seem it, but I don't know.
Huh? I
remember before people going nuts. I don't know though. I think I'm just getting old and I don't like it.
Well, I want to hear from some people younger, and I want to know if it's even in their radar right now. I know that it's a movie in the theater, but is that the kind of sense of humor that people are going for now? Or is it a bunch of Keith Malleys in the theater sober now and thinking life is just going to be the same as when they were 27 with a 40?
Right. Man, I didn't even think of that.
Really? Is that a bummer or is that like good news?
Of course it's a bummer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Of course it's a bummer. The gun knows that comes with it feelings, waking up in the morning, knowing how to love properly. But there's also negative things such as Jackass. I wonder if that's what it is.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, well. Yeah, the movies, people thought I complained about movies as is. They were so much better in the past.
Oh, no. Do you have to revisit all of the movies?
No, I've tried that. I'm like, I'll see something that I saw drunk and be like, yeah, that's how I felt. It's like I like to clean when I was drunk.
Right.
The next day, I didn't wake up and go, who the fuck rearranged my house? You know, it's still things where I like them to be in general.
Can I add, this might be a weird question, but you did clean very much. Like, so, okay, here's what Keith's night of drinking, if I may, Keith.
Please. Oh, I mean, literally, please.
You would start with a good meal. And this is what was confusing. You were very, almost like strict about it. Your salad came first. You made sure you had your greens, you had your whatever you needed, and you had the base. And then you fucking tore off. So drinking. And then when the party ended, your alone party started. And then it would be like from, let's say, 2 or 4 in the morning until like 10 in the morning of cleaning. Now, I don't mean to belittle and put your cleaning in air quotes, but a lot of it was rearranging and just kind of maybe wiping something down.
Yeah,
like you cleaned for 6 hours. I gotta say, nothing was sparkling.
It's more organizing. It's more organizing than scrubbing. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. So how did that? So how? My question is, how has cleaning changed now that you're sober?
Kyle does it. She has to do it now.
You don't know how.
I don't know. I don't know how though, because I never learned the skills, the tools. Like what tools do you have in place? I'm like, I don't even know. It just you drink and it gets done.
I could see you going like, I can clean, or I can drink. Like you know, if you want me to clean, I need to be on this medication that I used to do. And she's like, you know what? Why don't I take up cleaning for now?
Right. I'll see. I see there's a new the Batman movie, and which is funny because that's the name of it, the Batman. And do you guys remember like your aunt or a friend of yours, and they used to call Batman the Batman? And what would you do? You'd beat the shit out of him. It's the dumbest thing you fucking heard. And here we are, 2022. It's called the Batman. What the fuck? Life really does happen when you try to make your own plans, doesn't it? It's got its own ideas.
Why is it a new trend to make like a sequel or part of a series where you love the name so much that you want to keep it and you add the in the beginning of it, and now it's a whole new movie?
Because everybody likes the original titles, and I guess this is the closest that you can get. Scream, totally new movie. They just called it Scream. You know, that kind of thing.
But it's so interesting. The whole idea is that you're writing a new movie. They're like, we already wrote a whole movie. Why do we have to come up with a whole new title?
Amen. The hard work is done. Ladies and gentlemen and others, Mike Cannon. Hello, Mike.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Good. Did you quit drinking, didn't you, Mike?
Yeah. I just I'm a little over 3 years.
I was just saying I saw the new Jackass movie. And I'm seeing them, throwing the cow prods against each other's balls. And I really just watched and went, where meanwhile I loved it. And Chemda brought up the point that this is the first sober Jackass I've ever seen. And the idea is sad to me. That
is sad. Well, sober, like no weed either, huh?
Weed, but it doesn't amp ball kicks the way alcohol does.
It doesn't.
There's something about Four Loko that amplifies a ball kick.
That's fair. I mean, that makes you want to go out and try it right after watching it. But weed maybe puts me more in the position of the person being kicked in the testicles, and therefore I empathize and actually suffer from like sympathy pains. Similar to a husband watching his wife deliver their baby.
Is that what you're telling your wife? Yeah, I felt it.
Yeah.
I get it. So there.
I get it.
And then she goes, she starts drinking wine and goes, you feel this?
And I'm like, I wish, but it's for your benefit that I don't.
Do you find yourself, you know what? I do find myself definitely, because it's been like 4 years, not hanging out with certain people and realizing, wow, you really only were a drinking buddy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially in comedy, there's nothing worse than booze breath when you're sober, like somebody leaning super close, and just breathing just cheap whiskey or whatever it may be in your face. And, that is not as enticing to me anymore. I also just have to be up early because I have a baby. So I find myself just hanging out in general less.
You know, what's interesting is I never actually really drank. It just wasn't my thing, but we're going to do other things. But I noticed that I already lost my thought and it's the first hour of the marathon. So if there was a bell that somebody could ring and then I can just kind of slink into the background. Mike is here. Goodbye. Thank you so much. I'll just get coffee. And it was something about drinking and you idiots being idiots. But I'll come back to it. But we did ask in the background, they're asking some questions about people who got in trouble with the police or something about, I'm going to assume that alcohol or something was involved in your police interactions, if you had any.
Main culprit for sure. Yeah. I mean, also hanging out every once in a while, it is almost like to remain not drinking, you almost get a booze vaccine every once in a while. So I'll go to a bar, get inundated with drunk asshole behavior, and then be like, all right, I'm good. I'm inoculated for the next 6 months. I don't want to be that. So I'm going to
I've done that too. In the beginning of sobriety, I would sometimes in the middle of the night go to the bars that I, know might not be the classiest and just look at people on the street and be like, all right.
Yeah.
not that I was ever just, slept on the street, but still I'm like, okay.
I did. I definitely did. Yeah. I mean, for my police thing. So this was even pre my career in drinking. This is pretty much what set me off. So I had this big argument with my parents. I forget exactly. Oh, it was about college. I went to junior college. I played basketball. I'll kind of rush over this part. My father and I got into a fist fight over where I was going to transfer because my parents were having money troubles because my father was in the stock market, blah, 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 all this stuff.
By the way, you don't have to yada, yada, yada this story. We are interested, okay? And we have some time. Mm-hmm. You got into a fist fight with your dad over transferring college. What a weird fucking those two things come from, what we see as different worlds, but it's like, okay, what happened? Who punched first?
So my dad did. So I was just to even zoom out a bit more. My parents were going through a divorce at this time, yet still living together. My mom slept on the couch for 2 years. But like 5 of my friends.
I'm sorry. Your mom slept on the couch for 2 years. They didn't even swap.
No, certainly didn't. Yeah, there's a lot of issues in that.
Was she in the wrong? Was she a cheater or something?
No, not at all. She was just an Irish woman.
Okay.
So she decided to go on the couch and martyr. And who knows? There's probably a lot more to it than my 19-year-old brain was ready to come to terms with.
Right. Like we don't know what's happening with our parents because, and I'm not saying this it really happened, but he could have been saying, please fucking sleep on the bed. Okay. I'm fine with the couch. And she was like, no, take away everything. Yeah. I don't even deserve it. I don't even want to sleep on the bed that we once slept in. It hurts too. I'm just going to go over here. Was it more like that? Maybe
it was a lot like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. My father is a sack of shit, but but for sure there was constant communication problems, which is why I'm more or less too open and communicative now, is because I've seen the actual breakdown in front of me of a family that just refuses to talk things out.
Well, you must be good at it because you just called that communication issues instead of you did start with your dad's a bag of shit. So, okay, we're good.
Well,
we're good.
we're on the slight mend now, which people who have heard my history on the show might think that that's even unbelievable. But we're kind of talking. I'm allowing him to be somewhat of a grandpa. So whatever. I came home, I think, from visiting my girlfriend at the time at Syracuse University. The deal with my parents was that if I go to 2 years of junior college, play basketball, whatever, they'll pay for whatever school I get into, regardless of how expensive. I'm doing them a solid financially, blah, 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 all this stuff. So I got home very excited from my visit, told my father and my mom, I know where I want to go. I want to go to Ithaca, which Ithaca was right near Syracuse, near my girlfriend at the time. I could play basketball there, which I was playing basketball. I could stay at my study. I wanted to be in advertising, all this shit. So I was like, it's perfect. And my dad, probably just having gotten into a knockdown, scream out fight with my mom, goes, absolutely not. Only SUNYs. And so he was livid about that, immediately whittled my college list down to pretty much nothing, which wasn't the agreement at all. We got into it. He got right in my face. And my dad's 6'2", 285. He's a big.
And what are you?
I'm 6'1", 185. I'm a regular size Irish. My dad is an a giant bag of milk.
That to me, that's still like, it sounds like two bears about to fight. Cause both of those sound giant to me.
I was big. Oh, also, I was on steroids at this point in my life. I was taking steroids, and because I was playing basketball, I was very limited athletically. So I tried to gain an edge, and it didn't help. So it did help in this, because my dad came up to me, frothing from the mouth, inches from my face, threw an uppercut swing, and I guess I was keyed in, totally ready for this, because I just chopped down on his forearm, intercepted the punch, and like a right fielder throwing to third, I crow hopped, punched him right in his fucking giant Irish head, and he like stumbled back, and I ran out of the house and just drove to Villanova to my friends, to visit my friends, one of which is actually during this time of turmoil, like 5 of my friends died or were dying also. One of the people that I went to visit at Villanova ended up being one of the people who died. But what's crow hop? Like you jumped up like you're in an action movie and slammed down? You ever see like the outfielders, like when they take the hop just to throw extra far when the runner's going on? Yeah, it's like that. Like I legitimately gained every ounce of centripetal force in my body and inertia and just popped this dude right in his fucking melted pumpkin head.
No, it's not like Keith has never gotten into physical fights. I've never. But it's interesting to see, like, based on the wording that you're using for the fight, we know that you must have fought a lot, right? Like, I don't even think I would use the word I popped him. You know, I would just be like, and then I took all my might and I closed my fists and I said, just keep them closed, and punch. That's a person telling a story who hasn't gotten into a fight.
I mean, that's a much sweeter way to communicate it. That sounds much more like you're a good person than me.
But I remember when we were talking about daddy issues, and and I was talking about my dad, who, I catfished my dad. Mike was part of some of these stories. Catfished my dad after he wrote my ex-wife out of the blue, and then he started hitting on my ex-wife, meaning he started hitting at me. All that, by the way, at keithandthegirl.com/dad, DAD. But I remember telling Mike, I didn't know punching your dad was an option.
Yep.
I didn't know I thought you just took everything and then you moved out. I didn't even know this, because we weren't allowed to watch movies. Maybe I'd find out that way, but I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, you just got to take steroids, dude, and it unlocks a whole world of possibilities.
But he also knew, I think he also knew not to push it. Like he did. I was embarrassingly too old, but he would take an encyclopedia and hit me on the ass. And then eventually I just got older. It stopped hurting as much. He got older. He couldn't even hold on to it. He had to like throw it and open up on my lower back and fall on the floor and be like, all right, go to bed. I think he knew the line. And if somehow he pushed it even more after that, then it would have been, and maybe that's what your dad did. He didn't control you just right.
Yeah. I mean, my mom was actually the primary hitter out of both of them. She was the one that kind of hauled off the most. And I think it was probably because there was no repercussion. Like I obviously am not going to swing and hit her. I remember that I have a bit about this on my first hour, but the last time I got hit was when I was big enough to just catch her hands. And I was like, get the fuck off me. And then my mom saw that I was like a formidable human being and told my dad that I tried to throw her down the stairs. So then he just kicked the shit out of me instead.
You are unreasonably normal for your childhood. You understand that, right? Like this is not, good for you. Congratulations. How did your mom hit you? Like how I just said, like, boo, 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 boo.
No, like like whack. Like she had like knuckles and bones. She had just Irish woman, tough hands. You know what I mean?
So a boxer?
Nah, just like mostly like an oar. Like her hand was an oar made of wood, and she would just kind of clap it. This is a good topic for Dana to come in on.
The great Dana Gould is joining us. Hello, Dana.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. We're about 5 minutes into the marathon. Mike's talking about punching his dad in the face. That'll lead to police.
Yeah. If I punched my dad in the face, you'd be talking to me from heaven. But my mother did hit us with a board. That I completely forgot about. I was walking down the street one day. I was in my late 20s, and I just had this flood of memory like, oh yeah, Mom used to hit us with a board.
Like regularly?
Yeah, it was about this long, and she used it to stuff clothes in the washing machine. I mean, 6 kids. And I called my brother, and I was like, remember the board? And he was like, oh yeah, sure, I remember the board, because we just forgot about it. And I go like, yeah, that was fucked up, right? And he goes, yeah, did I ever tell you what happened to the board? I was like, no. He goes, oh yeah, I was about 15 and mom came out with the board and I just took it out of her hand and said, were you looking for this? And that was the end of the board.
I never knew you could do that. We would hide my mom's wooden spoons behind the, kitchen had a little gap. But when she found it, she remembered, I owe you for that time and now this time.
Exactly.
Oh, my parents, what? I'm thinking that a lot of kids are hearing this and they're actually getting tips on how to stop this behavior, right? Because as soon as you can like kind of stand up for yourself, which I know some people are too young for, but I'm just thinking like, I wonder what else you can do. Can you in public, when they start just getting a little loud, go, don't hit me. Oh my God, don't hit me.
Or the opposite.
And it might embarrass them, or maybe bring it up. Or I'm thinking I'm coming from a more innocent place. I wasn't beat, and that just gets you beat more. Gentlemen, would you like to answer?
Yeah, at the end of the day,
quiet.
Yeah. Well, you can't hit your kid in public, but you can breastfeed your child in public. So what I think you should do as a punishment, if your kids get out of line, is force them to breastfeed.
The embarrassing.
Or while they're breastfeeding, hit them with the other breast.
See, this is life. That's a good lesson in life. But it is one of those things. One of the reasons, because there was a saying. That's why they hit you. Spare the rod, spoil the child. It has to be good. It's a saying. In the same way they used to, in the same, like when a woman says no, she means yes. See, it's just a saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, cleaning
Those
out
won't get you in any trouble.
This Bible really made a fucking mess for my parents. It's cleaning out my parents' house. My dad sent a letter saying the Bible says I'm head of household. I'm the brain. You're the heart. By the way, the heart doesn't do too much, it seems.
Yeah.
The heart's supposed to cook, I guess.
Yeah. As someone once said, a 2,000-year-old book written by a group of people who didn't know where the sun went at night. Yeah, that's going to have all the
answers. So Mike was saying, him and his dad were arguing about what college to go to. His dad tried to give his son an uppercut that he stopped at age, 19?
I was 19, yeah.
And then smacked his dad in the face. That's where we're at right now.
Well, if it was a response to an attempted punch, I fully agree.
Yeah, it's I'm joking about it, but it was probably upsetting very much so to everybody else in my home. But it's certainly, it's a point of pride for me. So then I drove to Villanova to hang out with my buddies for the weekend. I was out of season, so it was kind of a recreational time that I could actually do this. And I never had really drank before, maybe a handful of times in my life, because I was under the delusion that athletics was going to be a forever vocation for me.
Sure, Natch.
Yeah, Natch. And so for the first time, I'm like hanging with college kids. I'm actually on campus, then off campus. We're having a good time. I'm seeing what college life is all about. I'm drinking. I'm smoking as if I've been training with these people for the entire first half of the year that they've been training. And of course, I get crazy spins. I'm like, about to throw up, and I'm a liability at that point. So my friends just put me in an upstairs bedroom of somebody's in this house that we've never been before. I woke up 2 to 3 hours later to like 3 girls poking me like I was the body and Stand By Me, like just literally checking to see if I was alive. And I just came to and was like, what the fuck? They're like, no, what the fuck? Like, get out of the room. So I stumbled downstairs, head into the backyard, pull down my pants to pee, throw up at the same time. So somebody goes, hey, man. And I look over to the side of the house. It's a giant silhouette. I hadn't seen my giant friend in hours. So I go, hey, Tim, is that you? And he said, yeah, man, come out front. So I pulled up my underwear, not my jeans, and I penguin walked over to this person. And when I got about 18 inches away, I saw the glint of his badge. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God, what the fuck? He grabs me, yokes me up. This is all told to me, by the way. I don't remember really any of this. And he stuck a breathalyzer in my face, and he told several party goers that I blew a 0.4, which is legally blind. He just kept making it a point to say I was legally blind. He wouldn't release me into custody of anybody, obviously, that was underage or had been drinking. So I called my buddy Tim, who was both of those things, drinking and underage. And
did you make up about anything? Did you make up a lie about drinking underage? I remember being at a party and the cops busted it, and said and I was underage, and like, where'd you get the booze? I'm like, I didn't drink any of the booze. Somebody might have put some in my Coke. Like, that's what people do. You know, it's like my girlfriend hates fish sauce, and we'll get like a steak, and she'll be like, "Is there fish sauce in there?" Yeah, baby, they just want to waste fish sauce. So I don't think anybody just want to waste some booze in my Coca-Cola. Yeah, like, yeah, okay, here's your fine anyway.
I didn't know that breathalyzers would indicate were also a vision test.
Yeah.
He's had so much to drink he needs reading glasses.
He's got astigmatism. I was in no position to lie, to tell the truth, or to do anything. My eyes were like a magic 8-ball. Like, they'd every once in a while kind of come to fix and, focus on something.
But I just imagine what you look like in the backyard with your pants down, urinating while vomiting at the same time. And I like to envision that to the sound of Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World."
Are you kind of grateful that you don't remember that story, or is it more horrifying being told back at you?
At the time, for sure, it was more horrifying being told back to me, because losing that much control is just not something I love. So yeah, knowing that I was in kind of full autopilot, or even worse, like demonic alcohol possession, is pretty off-putting.
And does your dad pick you up? Because not too long before this, there's a fight.
So this was before. So this is to go full circle with it. My buddy gets there. I told him I have something for him. I didn't even tell him the cops were there. He walks over from getting pizza. He's like, Jesus Christ. And he's like, they're like, yeah, you're over 21. He gave him his dead brother's ID and was like, yes, I am. And they were like, all right, good enough for us. They wrote me a $678 ticket, like this big ass fucking ticket. And we're like, all right, we're going to, that's it. Get out of here. Got out of there. I woke up. That was a Thursday night. I woke up the next day with like crazy anxiety, horrible. Like, what the hell just happened? I don't know what to do. Like, that was awful. I look at the ticket. They say they're sending a second copy home. So that's on its way to my parents. I have no idea. Like, this is just going to compound everything. I stayed one more night, was supposed to stay till Sunday, but had such bad panic and anxiety Saturday. I called the office of the police department and was like, there's no need to send the second copy. I'm good. I got it. Like, I'm going to send the payment to you. It's all good. Like, we're good. And they're just like, okay, cool. I drove Saturday and they had overnighted it. So they heard my call and they overnighted the ticket. I get home. My mom is like holding it, toe tapping like she's Sonic when you like hadn't played for a while. Right. Like, just looks pissed off. And
Your references are all from when you were like 12 years old.
All of them. I'm wildly stunted. So she's like, what the fuck are you going to do? I'm playing basketball at the time. I had no job. She's like, this is a $678 ticket. I'm going to have to pay for this. I can't believe it. But I was actually playing poker for a living at this time. And quite successfully.
Why not throw poker, that in? Punching your dad. Yeah. What else do you do when you're 19? Come on.
Did you grow up in a Damon Runyon novel?
There was like a 3-year period where my life was wildly interesting. And then those are what all my stories are from, and everything else just, it pales in comparison. So I ran upstairs, grabbed $10,000 in cash. And I fanned out 700. And to my mother, I was like, keep the change, you fucking bitch. Like, spoiled white brat. And my mom's like, Kevin, get out here. What are you doing? She's like, are you a drug dealer? Are you a drug dealer? And all proud. I'm like, no, I'm a poker player. And she's like, that's worse. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. I mean, in fairness, we were in like some pretty seedy underground places that definitely could have been more dangerous than they ended up being. But my father comes in out of the other room, sees the 10,000 stack, looks at me and goes, oh, I guess you can pay for your own college. Go fuck yourself. And then walked into the living room and like took a nap.
Huh. Economics.
Yep.
And that's what led you to create the Waltons.
Speaking of like, somebody put stuff in my Pepsi. I have 3 stepkids and they're teenagers, and they get caught with drugs, and it's not mine. I'm holding it for a friend, and I'm like, don't. Are you the cuck of your friends? It's my stepkid, the biggest bitch, and you just hold shit for people. Tell me they're yours.
That's right.
Please tell me my stepkids do drugs. You just hold shit for people.
Yeah,
hold
your
my
friend,
coat.
T.I.?
I don't want to carry it now.
Yeah.
You're that bitch. Please tell me it's yours.
What a gentle upbringing they're having.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree with that, though. You don't want to teach kids to be T.I.'s bodyguard. You want to teach them to be T.I.
That's right.
Yeah.
What Dana, you didn't hold things for other people, I hope, right? After all that?
Actually, yeah, my story is exactly that.
Oh no. That was terrible timing.
It's weird. I was talking about this last night to my better half. My lower half. Telling this story last night to my which I mean, last night I was talking to my balls, and I told them this story. Because I'm not airy fairy. I'm like I have an open mind. I could be a god, might not be a god. Maybe we go to a big town made of clouds. Maybe we don't. Right. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend I know. Right. But I'm open-minded. My dog cannot conceive of my computer, but they can be in the same place at the same time. So it is possible. It is possible that there are things beyond human comprehension. Right. Okay, that's my attitude. This leads me to believe in some form of orchestrated divine intervention. I've been drunk once. I've never smoked pot. I'm just not. That's never been my zhuzh. Grew up around it. Everybody in my household was an alcoholic, but me. So it's like there was no mystery to it. I sort of defined myself by doing the opposite of what everybody around me did. And then I went into comedy in the 80s where you'd never see any drugs done, especially in Boston, where I saw more cocaine inhaled than the Eagles roadie.
We have different references from different people.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But I'm being driven from one club to another in Boston. I'm being driven by a comedian, and we're going from the Ding Ho to Play It Again Sam's. And we get pulled over, and he takes an envelope of cocaine off the dashboard and sticks it into his waistband. And he goes, "Dana, there's a big bag of pot at your feet. You might want to hide it." And it wasn't mine. And so I'm like frantically, and I do the dumbest thing on earth. I put someone else's pot up my pant leg.
That's not a good hiding place.
No. And it's like, I look back on it, it's just it's like a car wreck in slow motion. Right.
Well, I feel like if someone has that weed there, he shouldn't be so vague as to be like, hey, you might be interested when thinking about it to hide it. And it's you should know. Tell me to throw it under the seat or something.
And literally he happened to be with somebody who had zero experience with drugs. It's just like in terms of possessing and hiding. So I do it, and the cop walks right up to my window and goes, "What were you putting up your pant leg?" Takes me out of the car. Asks me if I've ever been arrested. And this is what makes me believe that there was divine intervention, because I wasn't cut out to go to jail.
The producer of The Simpsons wasn't ready for jail in a later life.
By the way, my brother, a cop at the time.
Right.
Yeah. The cop took the pot and let us go.
Wow.
All right.
You think that's
exactly
divine? Okay.
Yeah, like I just was not prepared for that level of, like, I really do believe I can't wrap my head around that being happenstance.
That is divinely white intervention.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Oh my God. Wait until
by the way, the cop not white.
No shit.
Not white, and he said
he was tartan.
No, he was just following the manual.
Yeah, it was Boston. It was Boston in the 80s. It was Boston in the 80s.
What kind of God do you think it was? Like the Catholic God or some of these bullshits?
It was a really groovy God.
Right. Wait until Dana sees a sunset. Holy shit.
But no, I was not prepared for. I think it was also just being Catholic, being raised Catholic. I was just not. I couldn't conceive of catching a break.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he said, "Well, I have to kill you now," I would have gone, "Yeah, I get it." That makes sense. I really can't. I can't fathom it. I still have to remind myself, yeah, that really happened. That really happened.
I wonder if you might be mistaken, like our urge to just naturally go, something good happened. Oh, thank God. Like whether we believe or not. And you may have been let go and said, oh, thank God. Yes.
Thank something. I was not prepared for something that good. Like that's like a lottery ticket. Like to me, like how did that happen?
I think you were just shitting yourself when you were very young. Maybe if the cop said, I have better weed for you.
Yeah. Do you guys
all he did was steal your weed, so he didn't have to do paperwork. He kind of sinned.
Let me tell you.
He probably sold it.
Let me tell you an interaction I had with the police. This wasn't a bad one. Well, it is, but nothing bad happened to me. I'm 17 years old. And at the time, like New York cops were very just harassy. Like they would say hi to you, make sure that they've pulled me over, and I'm 17 with my little high school chain for the prom on the thing, and they're oddly hitting on me, and I don't know which way to look because there's one in each window.
They've never in my life hit on me. Raise your hand, guys. How many times has a cop said, hi, how was your day, honey?
Yeah, but it feels weird because you feel like you could do something wrong, like if you don't interact correctly at the time. Now, I don't expect you to feel bad for me, but what I learned was we can talk to cops like they're just some other asshole who's trying to say hi to us on the street. So we're out heading to a club like Palladium or something, and we come across some cops, and we're like, we want to take a picture. Give us your hat for the picture. And I'm really the only reason why I'm pushing is because this is how I feel they push on me. They push like I'm just going like, you want to pretend you're bullshit and you don't have any authority. I'm going to now treat you like you don't have authority. I have asked, I have the picture. They gave us the picture. We put on the hats, and we giggled our way to the next thing. I also have run into them, and they're in their cop car. They're trying to hit on me. I'm like, can I talk on your loudspeaker? I take the loudspeaker from the car and go, woo, woo. And I just feel like that's not God. That's just and
I disagree.
I like that Dana knows God was involved, but did you do anything about it, Dana? Did you go to church on a weekend, say thank you? You didn't do anything about it, but
no,
it blew your fucking mind.
I continued murdering.
Well, that is what God told you to do.
I thought for a while I was not cut out, but cut down. But then
I believe there is a God. Well, why don't you come and join me Sunday and we dive more into it? No, but still pretty amazing that night.
Yeah, that was well. But this is the cop reality that I came from. As I said, my brother was a cop, small town in the middle of Massachusetts, and he's on duty and he hears a radio call from the neighboring town. We have a 1968 olive green Mustang just blew through 5 lights, headed down Route 16. Be aware. And my brother's thinking, hey, wait, I own a 1968 olive green Mustang. Oh, wow. So he sees this car flying down the thing, and there are cop cars behind it. So he gets into the thing, and because there are cop cars from the other town, he can't let the person go. So he had to bust our other brother who was driving drunk in his car.
Oh, I see. Wow.
So do you think your brother, your police brother, listens to this story and goes, you asshole, it wasn't divine intervention. It was you have a policeman for a brother intervention.
No, because he had nothing to do with what happened to me. And I don't think he knows what a computer is. No, in fact, it's so funny because I don't really have a as I say, I have 4 brothers. One's an asshole. Guess which one is a cop? And I don't really have that much interaction with him. In fact, I went to call my other brother, who I like, and I accidentally called him. And now I'm stuck on the phone with somebody that I have nothing to say to. And I can't just go, oh, I didn't mean to call you. I have to like pretend I wanted to call him. I have nothing to say. Like, what am I going to say to this person? Just checking in, still keeping milk in the fridge. That's where we're putting it. I don't know what to say. How about that Hitler? Yeah.
Did you know you can keep butter on the counter and it doesn't go bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
How long? Well, when do you throw away apples? I don't know what to ask him. So I think, well, kids, I have kids. He has kids. That's a universal. I'll talk to him about that. So I tell him that I just got my youngest daughter. She just got her booster. So I say, yeah, Nellie got her booster. And he goes, I don't think we're going to be going down that road. I think I'm going to keep my DNA intact.
Yeah.
Boy. Oh boy.
And which is funny because Nellie, the daughter I'm talking about, is adopted because I can't get far enough away from my DNA. And
right, everybody acts. That's a great point, Dana. Everybody acts like they love their DNA when it comes to this vaccine.
Yeah,
I hear you bitch all the time. People hate it. I despise. You know what I despise most about my DNA? The reds. The red streak. And I know that's from my parents.
Yeah, let me look at my family. Religious weirdo, gun nut, biker, boozer, dead tooth, too many cats, the guy that talks to his truck. Maybe I adopted because genetically my balls are full of poison.
That's a quote. The adoption agency is going to use that.
Yeah, go ahead. Be my guest.
Yeah.
But no, it was, and it's just one of those things. But it's, he has that belief that is, he's like, I just don't know how it works. Like, right. That's why we have people smarter than you.
That's a good
so
sign.
We can have fun stuff like heart surgery and airplanes. I don't know how zippers work.
That's right. Let me introduce to you Billy Procida. How you doing, Billy?
KeithAndTheGirl.com.